What's up, guys? Have you ever seen a camera like that? Yes, this is the 3D Ultrasonic 1 version of the UpAir. It's the UpAir2 in my hands now for testing. We're going to take this beast outside. We're going to fly it. We're going to talk about the flight time. We're going to talk about the flight characteristics, and most importantly, we're going to talk about what that 4K video looks like versus some of the other drones out there on the market that you might be considering in the same $500 price range. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into some of the flight footage, because I'm sure you're interested to see what this one flies like. The range is way better than what they said it was on the Banggood website. I'm happy to report because it was around 1 kilometer maximum flight distance for the camera back to your phone, and it's actually way better than that. So we tested it in a big open canyon and plenty of line of sight for about 5 miles, so we could just really get this thing out there. And the nice thing about it is that it is a much larger size than some of the other drones, which folding drones have been kind of super popular in the last couple years, but actually a quad with some size to it will let you fly it in more conditions. And this thing is big, but it can handle a lot, and it will come home with some really smooth video, even in the windiest conditions. So here we go. Let's go outside. I'll show you some of that flight footage. We'll come back in the studio, and I'll show you some of the specs on this quad and just how nice it actually is for the price. Here we go. So let's go ahead and get the Ultrasonic UpAir2 up in the air, and let's get this review started. This is what it's all about to me, is what the video looks like. And the wind was blowing really good out here this afternoon. You can see the sun is way up above us at the 12 o'clock position, so we do have it pointing down, but the problem is that it's very windy at this point. So the video looks absolutely still, even though we did have probably a 15-mile-an-hour wind. You can see the detail in the river. It's really nice. And speaking of detail, I'm going to show you guys the FIMI X8, one of my favorite all-time $500 4K drones. I'm going to side-by-side both of these coming up, and you're going to notice that this handles the blue hues a little bit better. It has a little bit less blue hue in the entire image, and it also has a more true-to-life type of color variation here. This is way closer to what we're actually seeing here on the mountain. I love that little lone tree out there in the distance with the car going by. You can see that little car as a speck just going by. And now back up to the top of this mountain for a little summit up at the very top up here. And it really does have that slow cinematic type of video that you're looking for. You can fly this in GPS position hold mode, let go of the sticks and it'll come to a stop, but look how beautiful that is. You can also fly in ADI mode, where it's just going to drift on ice and not have position lock, if you'd like to make better pans. And speaking of the pans, I did pan left and right for you guys as well. It has actually a pretty good pan. It doesn't skip a lot of frames, which I don't like for some drones. But where most of these drones do their best shot is straight ahead. So if you're trying to make those cinematic type videos, this is probably one of those quads that is very competitive, even though it hasn't had a lot of reviews out there, because there hasn't honestly been a lot of units available for reviewers. I was trying to get a hold of this one for a long time now, and I finally got approved for it. So I was really happy to take this one out and demo it for you guys. Just playing around with that camera tilt there. I'm just going to leave that in the video so you guys can see what it looks like on the screen. And honestly, the video back to my phone, I felt like I could cruise this canyon and mountain surf with this quad and get in there close without having a lot of breakup. And the only other experience I've had with a phone and Wi-Fi video back to my phone from a drone is probably going to be the DJI Mavic Air. That one works pretty good close up, but when you get further out there, it does start to break up. And this one was way out there. We sent it off the hill, still within line of sight in this huge canyon, well a mile out, and you will start to get breakup past a mile, but if you stop, let go of the sticks, turn around and come back, the video resumes. And that wasn't a big problem. If you get into big trouble with this type of drone, All you have to do is hit that big home button on your transmitter, and this drone will stop what it's doing, turn around, and come back for you. Most of the GPS drones have return to home, either on signal loss or low battery situation. So the biggest thing to me about this type of drone is it's bigger than the folding drone, so it does handle more wind, and even in the windy conditions that we're flying in the canyon here today, it has really rock solid video. The gimbal on this drone is heavier than the X8. The lighter the gimbal is, the more you have camera shake in a windy situation, because the camera gimbal itself is actually getting blown around by the wind, and all the dampening in the world can't stop some of that jitter. The X8 did do better than the Hubsan Xeno. I'm happy to report that. I really like the Hubsan Xeno, but I think that one's been discounted a lot. But I really do feel like this camera is better than the X8. It's $29 more for this drone, but you're going to bring home a better image. The X8 has a really nice high saturated image, but I feel like this one has great detail and the colors are more true to life. And that's what, honestly, as a videographer and a drone pilot, is what I'm looking for. So give you an example of that. Here's the FIMI X8 SE, and I do love this drone, but you can tell there's a little more sort of oversaturation happening here with the X8. It's not quite true to life, and this is a very nice bright day. You can see those blue hues compared to here. We'll just show you these side by side so you can get an idea. The detail, I'm much closer to the ground here with the Xiaomi FIMI X8, Xiaomi, or however you want to say that. But look at the difference in the clarity here. And we have both have hazy situations here, much more rich and dominant color with the UpAir2 on the right hand side of the screen. That just looks phenomenal to me. But I leave it up to you because you're the judge. So here's that full screen again. I'm really liking the camera on the UpAir2, way better than the original one. So let's check out some of the specs on this quad. We have a flight time of about 23 to 24 minutes respectively. If you're pushing it, it's going to get you 20 minutes. 4K video, U3 micro SD card, that's going to give you your best bit rate. Aluminum gimbal parts on here, very similar to the Phantom. Wide stance landing gear. And let's go ahead and turn this guy on so you can see those LED lights. It has extra large LED lights, green in the rear and red up front. They really do make a nice visual observer there. 4K and 3D stereoscopic cameras with 4x zoom. There's those extra large LEDs, optical flow sensors and infrared sensors on the bottom of this for a position hold close to the ground, and a 3-axis gimbal. No problem. Super sturdy, even in that super high 13 to 15 mile an hour wind we had. There's the rear view of it, that wide stance. 9450 Phantom style props. And these are all over the place now. These are clockwise and counterclockwise spin-on self-locking propellers. And we have the 2212 950 kV motors. That's why we're getting that super long flight time. And look at the coils in there. Those are really nice copper coils. Thick and sturdy made motor. Not a cheap looking motor. No thin wires there. So now you press and hold for 2 seconds and it turns off the drone. Just going to pull this battery out for you and show it to you up close. This is a new version of the UpAir battery with the intelligent LEDs on the top. And we have a 5100 milliamp battery getting us close to 23 to 24 minutes flight time. And the transmitter is really nice. It has an aluminum flip up expandable type of phone holder or tablet holder. You could fit an iPad Air mini in there as well. Any type of iPhone or Android is going to fit in there, and it collapses back down to the base of the transmitter. To put back in your box, you've got the return home button here, on and off button here with LEDs at the bottom, and your auto takeoff button. It also has auto land if you want it inside the app. And there is our digital display readout. Push it again, hold 2 seconds to turn it off. Pretty simple. We also have nice rubber grips on the sides, both sides and the back of the transmitter, and that grab handle up top for resting it on a bench. Felt really comfortable in my hands. Also 2 antennas, one for 2.4 and 5.8 video. And we have a wheel over here for your gimbal up and down. We have the photo button and the video button. Nice to have a physical button there. A USB plug for updates and an Android connector right there for your Android phone, as well as multiple flight modes on here: position, altitude, GPS, app control, follow me, headless mode, auto takeoff and landing, and fail safe and return to home. And a really sturdy gimbal lock. I love this. This is actually a lot nicer and easier to put on and off than the Phantom series drones, which is nice. The quick start guide, we open that up and you'll see connection to the app, how to get in there, no password, power and gimbal operation. And the most important information on here is the magnetic compass calibration. Please do calibrate your compass every single time you take off from every new location. Also, it has a QR code in here for iOS and Android here. It supports iOS 8.0 and above and Android 4.4 and above, so no problems there for the app. Unlock and takeoff information sticks down into the center is how you arm the motors, and then you can just raise up the throttle stick, as well as when you land, you're going to pull the stick down for 3 seconds once the quad is on the ground, and that's going to bring your motors to a stop. You also get a USB cable in the box for those firmware updates. Alright guys, welcome back from the flight test and the spec check. So let's talk about the UpAir2, the pros and cons, and this crazy camera that they have on the front of here. Now I want to explain something to you guys. There are 3 cameras on here and you're probably wondering what these cameras are all about. Well, 2 of these on here are your stereoscopic views coming back to your phone that can translate it into 3D for you on your phone. If you choose to fly it in 3D, you'll need those box goggles to put your phone into. Now the 3rd camera on here, probably the one over to the far right, is going to be your 4K camera. So they separated the 4K sensor and the analog sensor coming back to your phone so that you get a more real-time view to your phone. Now one really nice thing, one huge pro about this was that there's not a lot of lag in the app view, which is great. I didn't have a lot of frame breakup. I did break down the resolution to a little bit lower resolution, so I didn't have problems when I get far out there. When you get far out there with this drone, if you start to lose signal to your phone, it's going to get a little bit choppy on you and it'll kind of freeze up. One of the things that I do, if you're out there and you lose signal to your phone with any type of drone, the best thing to do is just go ahead and stop in place, stop moving your sticks. Try to next yaw and spin back around, because sometimes that'll bring that antenna for your video transmission back facing you, and you also have the quad facing you. Again, you should be able to get back signal at some point. If you don't, you can switch into RTL and go up and start your trajectory back to the home plate. Once you get back close in to where you are, you'll get your video signal returning back. But one of the other huge pros of this is I think the quality of this quad is fairly robust. It's a big, heavy, beastie quad. It's going to handle more wind than some of the folding drones, the smaller folding drones like the FIMI X8. One of my favorites out there, around the same price range as this one. It's a lighter quad. The gimbal is lighter, and it's going to be more susceptible to shaking video. And actually, this one probably gets better video than the FIMI X8 for about $30 more. You're going to be able to fly in more wind. It's going to probably fly about 5 minutes less on the flight time. This one's getting an upwards of around 23 minutes to 24 minutes flight time on this 5200. I believe it was a 5200 battery that's in here. It's a 3S. Let's see what it was. Can't remember. I have quadnesia. So yeah, 5100 with the smart button on here, which is nice because it shows us right there what kind of charge level we have. And that's nice. When you bring the drone down, you usually you bring it down to about 30% and land it. You can fly it a little bit lower, down to 20, but any lower than 20, you're going to start to damage your battery. One of the cons about this one that I thought I would like to see is a little different propeller system on here. This is the original Phantom 3, Phantom 2 spin-on props, and they're a little bit awkward to get the thread started. That's the only thing that I noticed that I didn't like about it. But the cool thing about this prop is that you can find this prop pretty much anywhere on the internet. So these have become super cheap now that the other style click-on DJI props are the big thing. These are not click-on props. These are the original spin-ons. As long as you tighten these up nicely, they will not come off because your motor is spinning the opposite direction than your prop. So they are a little bit louder than some of the other props out there, but they do the job. So that's probably my only con about this entire airframe, because honestly I think the quality is nice on the frame. Everything feels built really well and really solid. The gimbal itself is all aluminum. The entire thing is aluminum all the way around to the back side of this gimbal, with the exception of the camera case. The 3 cameras are cased inside ABS plastic, and the gimbal itself, it is dampened with sort of harder style grommets front and back. There are only 2 pins here, so if you think you needed 4 and you're missing 2, it only actually comes with 2 pins here to hold this side and this side on. That just makes sure that in case one of these pop out, that your gimbal doesn't fall to the ground. But I think this UpAir 2 is miles ahead of the original one. I reviewed the original one probably over a year ago now on my channel, and I had a good time flying it. It felt really fun. It was very similar to the original DJI drones that came out, and this one just seemed to be a way more polished version with the option of doing 3D. It's kind of cool. It's a little bit gimmicky for me, but people that want to goggle up and do some FPV, if you've never tried it before, you got to try it. It's really fun. And seeing in 3D with the box goggles is kind of an amazing feeling, especially when you have the stability of this type of drone that flies really solid and the assistance of GPS positioning hold. So let go of the sticks and it comes to a complete stop. It's a really, really fun experience. You have to try it at least once, even if it is a gimmick. No other type of drone at this class has that type of option, so that's a really nice option. But everything else checked out on here. Quality, durability, flight time, phone signal back to video signal back to my phone was really, really good, and got out there well past the 1 kilometer that they claim on the website. So the specs might be a little bit wrong on this, because I went way past it. But anyway, guys, I'm going to rate this one at about a 4.8 out of 5. Super high rating for this one, and this one is going to remain in my collection because it is a very fun and reliable drone to fly. But thanks again for watching, guys. We'll also have a second part of this video coming up as well, where we'll go a little more in depth on the specs on this one and the app that comes along with it, and more of a flying and setup type of video for you guys that have bought this one. If you did, look forward to that video on the channel. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Take care out there. Be well. Happy flying.